Oh, welcome. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Riding with KSolo, the podcast, right here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 5 Pacific. You know where you can find me at. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Welcome. I got another one lined up for you. I have another great one lined up for you tonight. Man, I am literally highlighting all of the IBA Premier. I'm talking about the IBA riders that are out there, man, getting it in, putting down the miles, and we're going international. We're talking about international riding. We got a first. We got over 3,300 miles plus, 6,000, 7,000 round trip. I'm talking about, folks. Listen, I have somebody on right now who is a IBA mile eater, platinum rider, Grand Slam rider, 50cc Quest, 100cc Insanity, ultimate coast-to-coast Insanity. That's from Key West, Florida to Dead Horse, Alaska, and back to Key West. Trans-Canada Quest. That's from Halifax to Vancouver, Canada, 48-state challenge. Panama Express Gold, and Central America Ride Gold. That's all of the countries in between Panama and, I would say, Mexico in under 100 hours. Oh, my goodness. Folks, without further ado, let me go ahead and bring him in. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, doing great. How are you? Good to see you.
I am doing outstanding. Listen, your resume is like 2 or 3 pages long. I'm flipping pages. I'm like, whew, man, I kind of get through all of this.
I was sitting there waiting to hear who you were bringing on tonight when I was listening to it.
Like, that guy sounds familiar. I know when I hear it, I'm like, man, did I do all of that?
Crazy. It's crazy.
Great stuff. Well, welcome to the show tonight, Bill. I greatly appreciate you coming on. I know I reached out to you. I was following your journey down to Panama, and I said, man, I got to get this guy on, man. And then there's this one memory that sticks in my mind. We were on the 10, and I thought I was hot stuff. Man, this is what, 2 years ago? I thought I was hot stuff, flying on my little Harley Davidson Gold Wing, and all of a sudden I see these lights in my rearview mirror. So I'm not gonna let this joker catch me, man. Next thing I know, I seen this motorcycle, this BMW R1250 pull up on me, man, like a blur. And I just so happened to look down and grab the tag, which your IBA number was on the tag.
Yeah.
And then, man, I posted that, and they were like, that's Bill. I said, yeah, that was Bill. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very good. I'm blown away by being invited on the show. So thank you for having me, sir.
Yes, definitely. It's an honor and privilege to have you on the show tonight. Like I said, I've been following you. I've been to the IBA Jack's party. I've been in your presence. Great guy. Always been approachable. Conversation. You willing to share your knowledge, your experience, your journeys, adventures, and that's why I want to bring you on the show so we can inspire other people to get out there and do some long distance riding, to go to some of these places where they've only heard about and not known the unsung riders and heroes like yourself that have actually gone out and done it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's what it's all about, is growing the community and getting more people involved.
Yes, indeed. You, sir, have a military background. If you would, please just kind of share a little bit of that with us.
Yeah, I 37 years in the Navy.
I love doing this.
I'm like doing this. The FBI.
I had to make a phone call at the Pentagon. Say, can I release this? Is it good for clearance?
Exactly. That picture on the right-hand side in the bottom right corner, that was me on my 18th birthday. Actually, I graduated boot camp when I turned 18, and had a great journey. 2 weeks in, I was like, man, what have I done? And I can't wait to get out of this after that first enlistment. And then somehow 37 years later, retired as a Navy captain. So it's an amazing trip, an amazing journey.
Yes.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah. And where are some of the places you were stationed? I mean, if you can disclose those, just a couple.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
no. I did a lot of time. I felt like Bethesda, Maryland, at the President's Hospital there. That felt like my second home. I was there a lot over the years, off and on. I'd go there, go away, come back. But Florida, San Diego. Spent 3 years in Iceland. Actually, both my children were born in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great time there.
Mm-hmm.
3 different ships. I was on the Nimitz as a young E5. I was on the Guadalcanal for a summer while I was in dental school. And then I did 3 years, a department head tour, 3 years on the USS Saipan, which is an amphibious assault ship, after I graduated dental school. So 3 different ships all over the world. And like I said,
and by profession, you are a doctor of dentistry?
I am a dentist. Yes, sir. I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay. Yeah. Outstanding. Well, man, I know if I go on a ride with you, man, I'll ever get the aching. I already.
I would bring some tools with me just in case.
Stop the pain. Stop the pain.
Exactly.
Well, look, man, thank you for your service. It's always great when I have another veteran comrade on the show. Kind of like highlight us, man. I love it. And yes, indeed. So you are a IBA Premier Member Platinum Rider. That means that you have achieved a significant number of rides, a lot of them being insanity or gold level. And this picture here is so iconic. I think it captures the essence of long distance riding. So I had to use it. And you are also an IBR finisher. Am I correct?
Yes, sir, you are.
So how was that? How was that journey? Now, have you done it more than once? Because I know a lot of IB guys have done it more than once.
No, I didn't do it. My first time was in 2023, so 2 years ago. However, my second time is in about 2 weeks. So
yeah,
looking forward to that. But yeah, no, that'll be my second shot. So my goal for that first time was to be a finisher. And I'll be honest with you, I barely finished. It was, it is everything that you think it is, and then more, So I was grateful to finish, and it wasn't easy. And right. Then I get a picture like that with man, the great there, the one, the only Sir James in the middle there, huh? Yeah,
I know Sir James, man. I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy.
No,
oh my God.
I always told him, I said, if you would give me your route, that'd be great, but I can't ride your route.
Man, he's a beast, and that is so. It's an incredible feeling. It's humbling to me to be in the room with these gentlemen, with yourself, and just hearing about the rise and what they've achieved and how they achieved it in the time. I'm like, man, I'm just a little fish in this big old ocean here, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And so he was a great guy, and the way that he wrote it, I was just fascinated by it. I mean, I was just sitting there like in awe, like, wow, he did this, he did that.
Yeah, I was very fortunate.
How did he figure this out?
Yep. I was very fortunate. I met the first couple of times I met James was at like functions and stuff, and I kind of felt intimidated, and I didn't feel like I could like actually go talk to him. But then the Senior Butt Rally back in, I guess it was 2022, I think. James was partnered with the other guy that was in the picture there, Chris Wilshire.
Right.
And Chris, of course, is from New Zealand. He's the head guy, the IBA head guy in New Zealand. And he and Chris were going to be Senior Butt Rally partners together. And so at the last minute, Ken Andrews, his partner was supposed to be Chris Hopper. And Chris, for some reason, I don't know the whole background story, but Chris had to drop out. And so Ken was left without a dance partner and reached out to me. And the two of us partnered up with like only, about like 2 weeks before the rally started. So no chance to synchronize ourselves. But James drove down from his home in Pennsylvania, came down to my place in South Carolina. Chris had flown from New Zealand because he stores his motorcycle at my house. And we spent, I guess it was like 3 days at my house where I had the incredible opportunity to be schooled in the art of rallying by James. And
wow,
that's with me. So so because of the long distance community, Chris and I have become great friends. We speak on the phone 5-6 times a week, face chat.
Okay.
And matter of fact, today is well, I know this is am I giving it away if I say this is pre-recorded?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, but today is June 4th, I think. Yes, June 4th, and Chris and his wife Stella are arriving from New Zealand in 2 days on Friday the 6th. We're going to be here hanging out, and then on the 12th we are getting on our bikes and we're heading to Iowa to the start line, and we are planning to be
You're going for the big dance, man. You're going to be back in that room. You're going to be there for the big dance.
And we are partners. We're going into this as a team. So that's what this cup here is. Team Kiwi Weagle.
Okay, hold that right there. Hold that right there. Let's get a good clear shot at it. Okay. All right. I will be following.
Eagle. So that's the Kiwis and the Eagles. So we're gonna combine
Eagles.
A 3-person team on 2 bikes. So Chris with his wife Stella riding as a pillion, and then me on my own bike next to us. So the 3 of us are teamed up from the start, and we are going to be a team all the way to the finish on the IBR this year.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
I have to ask you this. I have to ask you, what inspires you to get out at your age? And I will let you say your age. What inspire you, motivate you to still get out and ride the way that you do?
Well, long distance riding, I think, is pretty easy in the body. I'm only 24. No, sorry. So I'm 66. So yeah, so I've got a few years on me here. But I actually did my first iron butt ride back in 2011. So about 13 years ago. I was at my last duty station, which was Parris Island, Marine Corps boot camp. I was a staff dentist there, doing oral surgery every day, just basically stealing wisdom teeth out of young Marine recruits. And I know, right? And my son was down visiting. He was, I think he was in between 11th and 12th grade, I believe. And we decided we're going to do an iron butt ride. I had never heard of it before, but we saw it and we were like, hey, let's do it. So my son and I took off. I was on a Harley Ultra. I was riding Harleys only those days. My son borrowed his grandfather's Electra Glide. And we left Parris Island on a Friday afternoon about 4:00 after I'd worked all day. Again, I knew nothing about iron, but what to get ready or do anything. I knew nothing. And so foolishly, I'd worked all day. 4:00 in the afternoon on Friday, he and I took off, and we managed to finish our 1,000-mile ride. Actually, there is my son. We finished our ride in Fort Worth, Texas, 23 hours later. It was a rough ride, but we had a great time. And so our iron butt numbers were only 1 number apart there for years. And it's still one of my favorite riding partners. Absolutely love riding with my son, Trip.
That is incredible that you get to share those journeys and adventures with your son.
Yeah.
At his age that you both get out and enjoy. Yeah.
He's not a rally thing. And
I was about to ask, is he ready to start rally riding?
No, I tried to suck him into it last year, and he's just not having it. He barely enjoys the long distance riding, and the only reason he does, and he'll tell you straight out, is the only reason he does long distance riding is he gets to spend time together. And he only has 3 IBR certs. He had his first one in 2011, which was a saddle sore. When I came back from the Ultimate Coast to Coast, as I was heading back to Key West on the last trip, I swung by Charleston, picked him up on his bike, and we rode all the way down to Key West and back, which is a bun burner. And we ended up, his second cert was a bun burner silver, because the bike he was riding had a flat tire, and we had to keep stopping every 30 miles to put air in it. It would not hold a patch. And so we ended up missing the gold, bun burner gold for his second one by about an hour and a half. And so he got a bun burner silver. And then his third one was just last November. He rode with me down into Mexico. We went from Eagles Nest, Texas, down to Aguas Calientes, down there to where Marcos Alvarez, the president of the IBA Mexico, his house. And we rode a ride that was incredible, absolutely incredible. It's riding south of the border. I know a lot of people are scared of that, but I got to tell you, that is some phenomenal riding once you cross and head south. It is uncomparable. Oh, and my other riding, that's actually Mike Kazicki there. I think you know Michael. That was during a Heart of Texas. That was his first rally, a Heart of Texas 4-day rally a few years ago. It was the mud bath.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, the mud bath, man. I've been, like I said, I've been following you, checking out the pictures. I just wanted to just bring these up because I want to hear the story behind this, and just the journey and adventure. People, there's two sides to riding. Maybe there's 2 or 3 sides to riding. There's that riding from point A to point B. Then that adventure riding where you get out there, you own dirt roads, your own back roads. You're going to trying to find a point that you have a picture of, that you have to take it at the exact angle with your bike, your flag, and whatever the monument is or whatever the point is in the picture to get credit for it. And oh, might I tell you, got to remember to upload your picture, because somehow or another, one of my pictures did not upload during the IBR, and it cost me like 1,300 points, man. And I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah, no, it's you're right. And this was this was Mike's first one. This was the Heart of Texas. This was the one where it was the Blues Brothers was the theme of this one. And it was just nonstop rain the entire 4 days. That motorcycle he's on at this point in time is about 8 hours old. He's owned that for 8 hours. The bike he started on day 1 died. He bought a new bike in Texas. Okay, we were out of the rally for about 9 hours. And then he got on this one. And so this is he's only owned this thing about 8 hours at this point. We're going down this mud road. That bike doesn't have 200 miles on it. And just around this corner, that bike went down about 5 times in the mud. We were duck walking, and it was just ugly. It was ugly, but he pulled it out, and that's where he got the bug to do the iron bike rallies, and he's actually doing his first IBR in 2 weeks with us.
Oh man, I will be following you guys. It's not like the Hokahay or like what Hop and Pat Cornell are doing right now. We don't have access to the trackers. I can't see you guys in real time. Right. We're secret about that, and you cannot get on social media. You cannot post anything. And then the tracker that they do have, the numbers change daily for what you are assigned. So it's very secretive, and it's for a reason.
Yep.
And it works. But I will be on the update page looking for all the updates and the postings, and just waiting to hear about the stories, because they always post little stories and snippet about what riders send up. Somebody go down the wrong road, or bikers land over somewhere, they'll post it, just kind of keep the humor in it, you know what I'm saying? Because it is a serious ride. It is a
do not want to be in that daily report, though.
The daily report, that's it.
You do not want to be mentioned that, because it is never for something good.
Man, you must ride oversleep in a hotel, get a knock on the room door, like, sir, it's time to check out.
Yeah, I won't name names, but in the LDX ride, that was me on the first checkpoint, actually.
Oh, you.
Yeah, that first LDX rally, the layover was in State College, Pennsylvania, not far from Penn State's campus. And I got there, and we all had our little thing at the checkpoint. And the next morning, we were supposed to be down in the room at 4 a.m. for the riders meeting with Paul Tong. And I remember my alarm went off, and I woke up, and I'm looking, I'm like at the window, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of sun up there for 4 a.m. What the hell? And got up, and it was like 8:45. And so I go downstairs, and there's Paul, and all I do is remember walking in the room. There's Paul. I was like, well, good morning, Sleeping Beauty. And easy to find my bike in the parking lot, though. It was the only one there.
There's the only one out there.
Yeah.
And you just know, like, oh man, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. I'm behind. I need to make up. I need to run hard the whole time.
And I did. Yeah. It's just that's part of the experience, though. You're going to make mistakes, and you got to learn how to recover from them.
Right. Now I have to ask you about this 100cc quest. This that's running from coast to coast and back, correct?
Correct. Most people do that on I-10 because it's a quick and easy ride.
Right.
I did that from the Isle of Palm, South Carolina, right outside of Charleston. That was my Atlantic Ocean starting point. And then, because that would just be too easy to go straight from there, I rode up to Florence to the beginning point of Interstate 20, and did a Interstate 20 end to end all the way into Kent, Texas. and so I started the clock over for that part, and then rode to San Diego from I took I-20 to I-10, and then I-10 down to I think it's 5 that takes you to San Diego, and then reversed and came back the exact same route. So that was a heck of a ride, and again, it's about challenging yourself, and seeing if you can do better than you did the day before. So yeah, but a great ride. Hard ride.
Do you think it was harder than the Trans Canada Quest? The Canada is just boring. It was just boring to me. I mean, it was nothing.
The speed limits are low. You're doing math in your head the whole time, kilometers per hour. Then they want to do hockey pucks per kilometer, and you're trying to do eagles per apple pie and the mileage. And it's just you're paying with money that's got animals on it. I mean, So
you got the queen on it. Just give me the one with the queen on it, man.
Yeah, that was actually a great ride too. I had a good time. We again, Chris Wilshire came over last year. And we decided that we were going to do a ride. And this is how this came about. We decided we were going to do a ride in preparation for this year's IBR to go and do all the things we avoided during the IBR. So staying out of places like out of New York City, avoiding crossing the border, staying away from hot areas. So as it evolved, we said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And so we decided to make a lap. And so we did several rides. We called it our adventure that 2 weeks was the going for the certs. And so we did a saddle sore from here up to a shipmate's house up in Massachusetts. And then from there, we rode up to Halifax. We spent a day up there. We rode around, did the Cabot Trail, a loop of the Cabot Trail, had a great time.
Okay, so which year was that again?
Last summer. It was last summer. Yeah,
because I was running the Cabot Trail as well.
Oh, no kidding. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I did the Cabot Trail yesterday for the SCMA Grand Slam.
Well, I didn't do the Grand Slam, but we also put in the Four Corners. So we decided to do that as well. So we did Halifax. We did the Cabot Trail. We left from Halifax. We came over. We snuck across the border and grabbed Madawaska, Maine. Yep. Went back right the exact same place. Went all the way out to Vancouver and so did the Trans Canada Quest. We saw moose, we saw bear, had a great time. We had a 45-minute conversation with a member of the esteemed Canadian Police Department.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Man. Did not know radar detectors are illegal in Canada. Did not know that. Yeah. We weren't speeding, but we got pulled over for having a radar detector. And
here's what scares me about Canada is that if they catch you speeding, they can literally take you off of your bike, confiscate your bike, and leave you standing beside the road. Yep. And you will have to figure out. And then when they impound it, the impound bill just start rolling. Yep. Then you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can go and get it out of impound.
Exactly.
So when we were doing the SMA Three Flags Classic, they give you the warning, hey, don't speed because you may be standing side the road with your bag in your hand trying to figure out how you're going to get home, and then you're going to be looking at a big bill trying to get your bike back.
Yep.
So for anybody that's thinking of going to Canada, man, just be careful with your speed limits. Click that button on your odometer from miles to kilometers per hour, whatever the case may be. Make sure you hit that button because you do not want to get stopped up there and catch the wrong Mountie on a bad day.
Exactly, wrong Mountie, bad day. And do not use a radar detector because they
do not use a radar. It's worse than Virginia, huh?
But that's what they got us for him. And the cop pulled us over and we're like, he goes, why?
How did he know? How did he know?
He had a radar detector.
Oh,
but he wasn't running radar, so the radar detectors never went off. And so all of a sudden, the guy pulls us over, and he goes, "Why I pulled you over?" And Chris and I are like, "No, we weren't speeding. No idea." And he goes, "You have a radar detector, don't you?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." I didn't know it was illegal, so I didn't lie. And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, they're illegal here." I was like, "Oh, okay." So it was a lesson learned, but had a nice 45-minute conversation, a lot of laughs. We ended up taking a picture with the guy at the end of it, and it was a good time. But it was a expensive lesson. We had to pay with that funny money with animals on it again, and But we had a good time.
So he did give you a citation. He did hit you with that road
He did
sign. Give me moolah. Give me moolah.
He said it was a warning, but it was not a warning. It was like I think $110 warning. It was a hell of a warning.
So note to self, their warnings are different in Canada.
Canadians are really super nice people, but they don't play when it comes to traffic law.
Yes.
Yes. And so then we left there and we left Vancouver, and then we did again, I think it was the first time ever we came up a ride that sort of started in the IBR 23. We were at one of the checkpoints, and we're all hanging out, just laughing. And Chris says to me, "Hey, Los Lonely Boys," which is a Texas rock kind of group. He said, "Los Lonely Boys are playing. You want to go to the concert?" And I'm like, "Well, when is it?" He goes, "Oh, it's tomorrow." I'm like, "In the middle of the IBR, we're going to do a concert." And we laughed, and we're like, "Ha ha ha!" And it was just a joke. Well, when we're doing this ride and we're planning it, it turns out that Los Lonely Boys was playing in California, in Ojai, California. So the entire route was backed up so that we can make the concert in Ojai. So we left from Olympia, Washington at like 11 o'clock at night, rode through the night down the length of California, pulled into Ojai, and that was that picture you showed of us holding that FAFO flag. We were actually up on stage during the concert with the Los Lonely Boys group to get a concert gold.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was a great adventure. And then we finished the four corners, and we did a key lime pie. Yeah, that's us. That was before we got up on stage. But at the end, there may have been alcohol involved. I'm not sure. But at some point, we ended up actually on stage with them. And it was great. And they posed with us with the FAFO flag, and we had some laughs, and then went out drinking afterwards. So good times.
Oh man, good times. You got some amazing stories. Definitely, definitely. Now you have
for sure.
Oh yeah, you have to enjoy. You have to have fun with this. You have to make it exciting. I tell everybody, when you ride your ride, it should be. You shouldn't necessarily follow somebody else's trail. You shouldn't just say, "Well, which route did you take?" I always encourage people, plan your own ride, make your own trip, stop and see what you want to see. Just because you see me stop and take a picture with it, don't mean you may be interested in stop and see what catches your eye, what inspires you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, exactly. And I think the other point is a lot of times I see online people will denigrate the iron butt rides. They go, 1,000 miles in 24 hours, you can't see anything. That's no way to do. And I'm like, you have no idea the amount of things I see and get to do, and the enjoyment that I get out, the interactions I have with people, the conversations at gas stations, which I got to tell you, especially when I'm not on the clock, gas station conversations are probably the highlight of any ride I do. The people I meet that are just strangers until that moment, it just gets no better for me. That's what I really, really, truly like.
When you pull up, people will stop and look at you, and we consider ourselves professional riders. At this stage of the game, now we are professionals. The way that we pull up, the way we conduct ourselves, and people will sit there and just look at amazement. Young kids, little kids in the car, look out the window at you. I just enjoy it when they wave at me, when I'm coming by, and I'll take the time to wave at them because I know that will influence them somewhere down the road, that they remember seeing this biker, this big scary biker, just look over at me and smile. Now, I'm not saying, you're a big scary biker, because you're welcoming, you're like, "Hey, how you doing? Where are you going?" But it just makes me feel good. And when you pull up and people see you, and then it's the bike that you ride. You ride a BMW R1250, correct? That's what you rode. That's what you used on this last trip.
Well, I actually have several bikes. That's one of them. And I grew up with Harley Davidsons. I was through and through a Harley Davidson rider, and didn't know of any other kind of bike besides Harleys. I mean, I've had bikes. My first bike that I ever rode on the street was a Kawasaki 350 triple two-stroke that I used to ride when I was like 16 years old. And then I was listening to your conversation with Greg, and I didn't realize that he and I had in common. While in the Navy, I used to ride back and forth from Norfolk Naval Base up to visit my then girlfriend in Allentown, Pennsylvania. every Friday that I was in port and ride back Sunday on a Kawasaki KZ650, exactly the same bike he was riding. And I laughed when he talked about the tank bag and the radio and the eight. I'm like, holy crap, I think he was using my bike, because I did the same thing. It was like amazing. So, but mostly Harleys. When I got older and could afford to buy a Harley, I was purely with Harleys. I grew up with Harleys. My stepfather rode a Harley. My uncle was an NYPD police officer who rode a Harley. He was a motor cop in New York City, and took me for my first ride on a motorcycle ever was on a New York City police bike. And so I like Harleys. But what turned me over to the BMW was the ultimate coast to coast to coast, going up to Dead Horse. And people ask me, what were you riding? I'm like, well, I'm going up with my Harley. What do you mean? And they're like, oh, no. That's not the right tool. You need the right tool for the job. So they talked me into buying a used BMW GS. So I found a used 2015 GS that I picked up. And I started riding it before I went up there to get used to it and get it set up so it would be comfortable for the ride. Did the ride up on that thing, and I just fell in love with it. I just said, this is what I want to ride. So I still have that bike, although my son uses it. That's what he rides as a daily rider.
Okay.
I've got a 2015 RT that I ride also. I've got my 2024 GSA. And then I also have in my garage an 82 Kawasaki 550 that I converted into a cafe racer for my daughter-in-law to learn how to ride. And my last bike I have is actually a very special one to me. It was gifted to me from a childhood friend. He and I were friends since we were 11 years old, and he passed away from cancer about 6 or 7 years ago. We were friends for over 50 years, and he left me his 1971 Norton Commando. And that
so you
is,
have a Norton.
I have a Norton Commando, a 750 that is just like my pride and joy. Absolutely love that bike to death.
Primo.
So I've got quite the selection, but I've got no more Harleys. I've gotten rid of them all. I've divested myself from Harley. But I'm not going to lie. When I go by one on the highway and I hear that thump, I'm just like, you get that tingle that, I was like, oh man, maybe I should get another one, but yeah.
But that BMW 12 GSA is designed with long distance, ultra long distance riding in mind. The center of gravity there, the way that you can modify it, even when you add on the saddlebags, the tour pack, I would call it tour pack or tour bag, whatever they call it, and then just all the thing that you can adapt to it, the lighting system that you can put on it. You can run it in alleys. I'm sure you have all of the upgrades and stuff like that, because it's pretty much standard for long distance riding, because you ride at night just as much as you do during the day. Am I correct?
Yeah. And
do you prefer night or day?
Oh no, I don't like night riding at all. I am as I've gotten older, as I'm coming up on 25 now, the eyes aren't quite as good as they were back in the day. And nighttime riding I find very hard. And I'm usually, I wouldn't say I'm scared, but my alert is heightened. So the lights that I have on my bike, I try to convert nighttime back into daytime. And I do that with a lot of lighting up on the front of that bike. And it turns the night into day, and it makes it easier to do.
Right. And that's what I tell people. You really have to invest in lighting, because even at dusk and even at dawn, and then too, fog plays it. You'll just roll right into fog. There's some places where I think it's down in Louisiana, Mississippi, when you're crossing the bridge, it's just notorious for the fog on 10. It's just notorious. It will be there. Yeah, it will be there. And it's not like when you hit that button, you flick that button and you still can see, and you may slow down a little bit, but you have that safety distance, saying if there's a vehicle in front of me, I can stop, or I can use my exits, or and I'm going to keep pushing. The show does not stop.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's the critical factor, I think, is being able to see and having other people be able to see you. I think those are the two key factors for safety, from my standpoint, at least.
Okay. Now we're gonna jump. Just give me a second, right quick. We're gonna jump from stateside, and we're gonna go international. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna play this little quick commercial, and then we'll be right back.
What's going on, y'all? Lincoln Infield here, Carolina's Full Throttle Magazine. Always a proud supporter of KSolo and everything he does, his rides, everything like that. Amazing association, man. I'm proud to be associated. Y'all take it easy. We'll see you around.
All right, and we are back. We are back. Welcome back, folks. You know, I have to get that little quick little pause break right there for the calls. But listen, we're gonna jump from oh, and grab a cup too.
Yeah, gotta have some coffee and not just any coffee, iron but rally coffee.
That's right. See that? Ooh, let me hold that right there. I got to get a good picture of that. There you go. 685. Look him up, folks. Look him up. You'll be highly impressed when you look up IBA Rider them 685. You will be highly impressed. Now let's talk about this latest adventure that you, Mike and Greg went on.
Yeah, it was from my point was completely unplanned. I got a call about I don't know, maybe 3 weeks before the ride from Greg. Greg called me up and he said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to make my third try on getting to the end of the road, and I've gone down there twice now with Mike Bobbitt, and Mike's not able to make it on this ride. I don't know what the whole deal was. I think Mike at the time, Mike right in the front." Mike at the time had just come back. Right. He went down to Colombia and was riding his motorcycle in Colombia, or a rental, I think. And then came back and you know, some people still have jobs where they can't get off. And so Mike was unsure if he was going to be able to get the time, but Greg didn't want to do the ride alone. And so he reached out and said, "Would I be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, absolutely." Because I still have a goal that I want to ride all the way on the Pan American Highway down to Ushuaia. That's my goal. And so I'm doing it sort of in bits and pieces. I did the Alaska part there. I've done parts in California. And now when Greg offered this, I was like, well, yeah, no, that'd be great. I'd get some experience with somebody who's been across the borders there a couple of times. And why not? Let's do it. So we decided that he and I were going to go together. And then I don't think it was more than a week later, maybe, where Mike figured out a way to make it happen. And he goes, "I'm coming too."
I'm in, guys. I'm in.
Yeah. So the three of us did it. So we met. Mike rode down from Colorado. Greg rode in from Florida. And I had gone from South Carolina, was actually in Atlanta for some continuing education classes I had to do there for my dental license. And I left right from Atlanta and rode there. And we all met in Laredo, Texas, and the night before, and then got up the next day and we headed south.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. You're telling me that you were already on the road. You were already in Atlanta. Yeah. It's not like you started off cold. You were already in motion. So the bike was packed. Everything was good to go.
I'm going with what I got.
Did you plan it that way, or did you say, you know what, I'm just going to get out there and I'm just going to just run it?
There was minimal planning. It was a little bit, but not a lot. It was pretty much seat of the pants, other than the prep work that I had everything all ready to go through Central America anyway. Because again, as I said, my goal is to get to Ushuaia. That's a bucket list item for me that I need to get done.
Okay. So round trip for you from South Carolina to Panama City, Panama was 3,816 miles.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So
it's not as far as you think. I mean, honestly, it's like,
but those miles are different, though. I have to tell everybody, Mexico miles are different.
Mexico miles. I'm trying not to use sailor words here, but yes, they are different. They are different. Yes, they are.
Yeah, and I know you gentlemen was running hard down there. As I was interviewing Greg and talking to Greg about some of the things that y'all was running into, I know there was a couple of bad storms down there. Did you have any issues, I say, with the language barrier, or was there anything that you in particular felt uncomfortable with, or you felt like, okay, this is a little hairy, it's a little dicey?
No, not really. It was funny before the ride when people would find out I was going on this ride, they were trying to put fear in you. It's like because they were trying to transfer their fear onto me. And it was like, oh, you're not afraid of cartels. You're not afraid of being kidnapped. And I'm like, first of all, nobody's going to kidnap me. Who the hell wants me? But okay. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you spend all the time watching the news and stuff, you might end up being afraid of things, but, or think to yourself, okay, I'm going to go to a foreign country and they're going to hate Americans but that's not the case. I found that every single person that I met on that ride could not have been nicer people. It was a combination. Now, there is a language issue there, but in preparation again for my gold trip, I have been working on my Spanish a little bit here and there. I use an app on my phone called Duolingo. It's like 10 minutes.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I use that 10 minutes a day, and as you're doing it, you think it's not doing any good, but it really did. It really did. I found that although I couldn't have a fluent conversation with people, I could get my point across. I could understand what they were asking of me. And again, back at the gas station conversations, I had gas station conversations with people who spoke no English, and my Spanish was minimal, but it was enough that we could have conversations. We were laughing with each other and enjoying each other's company. There were handshakes and stuff. And I mean, so yeah, I would not suggest going and knowing nothing, but a little bit gets you far away. I mean, hello, please, thank you.
Right.
Those are critical. You know what I mean?
There's certain key words that you need to know and understand.
Yeah. I need 2 more beers. Oh, wait, no. Dos cervezas.
Yeah, there you go. Beer 2, please.
but other than those, I don't think the language was a barrier. People try. If you approach them in a respectful manner, a friendly manner, it's reciprocated, and without exception. Good.
Let's talk about the ride. Let's talk about the ride itself. Going into Mexico, we'll start at the top, and then we'll just kind of work our way down. Now, I don't know if you can see this map or not. It's kind of small, and I'm using it off of Mike, off of his post. But you went in Laredo. You dropped down to Monteria.
We went
Monterey,
through
Monterey.
Yeah, we went down to Monterey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and continued. The hardest part of this entire trip for me, and I can't speak for Greg or for Mike, but I think the hardest part were the border crossings. That was the hardest part of the entire ride, was dealing with the logistics and the red tape of border crossings.
Yes.
The actual ride itself, you had to be prepared. One thing that all of Mexico and Central America have in common is they like to surprise you with speed bumps. And man, their speed bumps are serious. They do not play games with speed bumps. And it could be on the middle of a high-speed highway. You could be going down a highway that you would classify here, not as an interstate, but certainly as a state highway. And all of a sudden, in a road where you're traveling along at 65, 70 mile an hour, there's a speed bump unannounced. So yeah, you gotta be watching those roads.
Right. And you, my friend, are going airborne. I'm telling you right now, you are going airborne. I do not understand their method to the madness or why they do it. They're not really marked that great. And when you hit them, it's just like you're going to go up off of the seat, and you better pray that you come down. The bike don't go into a wobble.
I tell you, I hit one on the way home, and I was alone on the way back, and we'll get to that eventually.
Right.
But I hit one in Mexico where it was actually a pothole that I was avoiding the one pothole, and I went to another pothole that was worse because at the exit of the pothole, it exited right into a speed bump, and I hit that at about 45 miles an hour. And as you said, the bike went up in the air, and I came down so hard that my chin slapped into my tank bag, and it rang me. It was like I felt like one of those old cartoons with the stars going around my head. And how I didn't
Wow.
drop that bike is amazing. But I put a little tiny dent in my rim. That's how hard I hit it. So yeah, they don't play games with those speed bumps. That's for sure.
Oh, so you almost bit the dirt on it.
Could have, didn't.
Okay,
Could've.
good.
And that wasn't the only time. And I think Greg told you about our little popcorn incident there.
What was the popcorn? the truck spilling the popcorn.
Oh my goodness! It was like 2:30 in the morning, and we're somewhere down there, and we're going down the road, and we're coming around this curve, and it was 2 lanes each way, and it was a divided highway with a barrier between them, a low barrier. And I'm in the lead this time, and we were taking turns taking the lead, and which would give the other people a chance where they wouldn't have to concentrate as much; they could just follow. So we were sort of divvying up that task. And as I come around this curve, I don't know why we weren't going as fast as we had been earlier, but maybe 50, maybe it wasn't much more than that. I come around this curve, and all of a sudden, I am in this pile of, I don't know what it is when I'm hitting it, but the bike, it felt like I was in sand almost. You know, and if you're going slow in sand, how your handlebars are wobbling, the bike is fishtailing and stuff. And I'm doing this at 50 mile an hour. And I'm trying to get it slowed down, and the bike is getting pulled as like sand will do, where it'll pull you even despite where you're turning. It'll pull you in a direction once you get in a groove. And I'm plowing through this stuff, and I'm heading towards the middle barrier there, and I'm like in kind of a panic. And I hear on the comms, I hear Mike come on, "Bill, don't hit the barrier." And my response was, "Huh, no kidding, really?" and
like I'm already in it, my friend.
Yeah, it's like I'm not intentionally going for the barrier, Mike, you know. But thank you, Mr. Obvious. But I somehow got it to go around, and we come to a stop, and I look down, and a truck had an accident on the other side of the highway, and its cargo was corn, the hard kernels that would be used for making popcorn, and it's all spewing across the entire highway, like 3-4 inches deep, where they're shoveling it by hand, trying to clean the highway. But and it went on for, I'll bet you it covered about a quarter mile of the highway. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So yeah, got to be always paying attention. There's always something out there.
Man, I tell you, it's rough. I got to give it to you, gentlemen, on this ride. It was a great ride. Now, you mentioned the border crossing. Someone had an issue with paperwork. Was that you or Mike? You or Mike?
We all had
who had the issues with the paperwork?
I think the first issue was crossing from Mexico to Guatemala. For some reason, the guy at the border took care of Greg, then took care of Mike, got them both situated, and I kept trying to hand him my paperwork, and he kept going, uno momento. And in the meantime, he's taking other people, and I'm like, what's going on? I mean, I don't know what I had done or what I had said, but somehow I must have done or something that irritated him, maybe. I don't know. And he was punishing me. And so it took a while. And then we tried to hand him, he wanted an original copy of my title for the motorcycle. And I'm like, okay, I don't carry the original with me, but I had color photocopies that if you didn't know any better, you would swear they're originals. And he's like, nope, okay, that's a copy.
So he knew.
And he didn't want to let me in. And I'm like, well, okay. So he finally accepted my registration card, since that was an original, and then made a photocopy of it. And he was happy with that. So I got through there. But I think it was in Nicaragua, is probably the most strict border crossing. And there they add in a police check where you have to talk to the Nicaraguan police, and they are searching you for drones. You are not allowed to bring a drone into Nicaragua.
He mentioned that.
Yeah. And they're serious. You dump out all your luggage. They go through everything with like a fine-tooth comb, checking to see if you've got anything that looks like a drone. And if you do, they will confiscate it and then turn you around. You are not coming to Nicaragua. And you also have to ask permission a week ahead of time to come. So you have to write to the immigration office in Nicaragua and say, I'm planning on coming.
Did they say, did they ever tell you guys why?
No. But when Mike was trying to come through, his problem was
they never told you why.
Why what?
Did they say why no drones? Did they say?
Oh yeah. Oh no. I have no idea. I don't know what they're trying to control there with that, but any of the online forums that you go on and read, they warn you. Do not, if you're traveling the length of the Panama American Highway and you want to go through Nicaragua, you need to ship your drone to the next country down and pick it up at the next country, because you're just not taking it with you into Nicaragua. It's just not happening. And it's not worth the hassle. But then Mike came through, and as I told you, Greg and he had done several other attempts to try to get to the end of the road, which is what that picture is. That's almost at the end of the road. That's just about at the very end of the Pan American Highway in North America. And they had Mike's old bike license plate number in the system. And when they printed out his form, somebody made a mistake and it put the wrong license plate number on. So when we go to leave, the woman at the gate takes the paperwork and she goes back and she checks the number and she checks Mike's, and it's the wrong bike, according to her. And she says, no, you're not going out through the gate. Sorry. And he's being held until they open. Now it's like, at this point, it's almost 1 a.m. and they don't open again until the next day at I think 6 a.m. So 5 hours he had to stay at the border. There's the three of us. That's entering Darien Province. Yeah.
Ooh, that's Darien Gap, right? Heading towards the Darien Gap.
Well, that's about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours north of the Gap. This is right when you enter Darien Province. And then when you get to the other end, the southern end of it, that's where the Gap is. Okay.
Nice. And you guys were averaging about 300-400 miles to a tank?
Well, it depended. There was a couple days there. The one day I hit 470 some miles on one fuel stop. We went through an entire country. I think we went through all of Nicaragua without even stopping for gas. I gassed up in Honduras, and I didn't stop for gas again until I was in Costa Rica. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Man. Yeah. Greg was saying you guys was getting some good gas mileage. Just the gas down there, better gas, without all the additives, cheaper. Yeah. So that was good. And cost wise, what do you estimate your cost for this trip?
I never try to look at that.
Well, I mean, we're trying to inspire and get other people to get out, and that is a true factor.
I don't want to know what it costs me, but I would say, and this one was probably a little less expensive because we had very few hotels, and the hotels we did have is in Central America. The hotels are dirt cheap. I mean, we were staying in Holiday Inns. We stayed at a Marriott. I don't think we paid over $50 a night for a hotel room. I mean, that's you can't even get a Motel 6 up here for that. But down there, you're staying in the Marriott. We stayed at the Marriott, literally overlooking the Panama Canal for $50 a night. It's dirt cheap. I would say the most expensive part of the whole trip was gasoline, because again, we did not have, there you go. That was Guatemala all the way down into Honduras before we, on that gas stop. Yeah. Crazy. But if I was to put a number on it, I don't think I spent more than maybe $1,500 for 2 weeks of riding.
Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
No, you can't go on a trip to Central America for that kind of, get an airplane, fly in, get a hotel. You're not paying that. You're paying a lot more than that.
Right. Well, what I enjoy about going down to Mexico and I can only say Mexico. I haven't been all the way down the way you gentlemen. The prices, and I like staying at inexpensive motels. I do. I'm just a biker. It's just a biker in me. I don't mind somewhere where it's a room with a bathroom, a basin to wash my face, to take me a little bird bath or something like that right there. And as long as the bed is comfortable, as long as there's no bed bugs, I am good. And trust me when I tell you, the hotels be clean, the motels be clean down there. They will come in and sweep it. They will make sure that you are comfortable. I think I spent maybe $40 one time when we went down there. And it was like the room was clean. The little lady, she didn't speak much, so she brought me a soda. She brought me a sandwich. And I was like, okay. She was real nice, and I was like, a soda and a sandwich. And I walked around the little village and kids was playing kickballs and stuff, and I just walked around. So I enjoy going down there. Like I say, it's when you're at your own pace and you can take your time and you really enjoy. So now we hit the bottom. We hit Panama City. We have our hiccups. Y'all did run into some rain. You did run into some rain.
A little tiny bit. No. Greg and Mike hit rain, but that was on their ride home. We didn't have. We hit rain the one day. We woke up in Panama and it looked like it was going to rain all the way to the Gap. So we had like about 5.5 hour ride from Panama Canal down to the actual Darien Gap. And when we looked at radar that morning, it was just the entire country was covered in rainstorms. And so we're thinking, well, it's going to be an ugly ride. We got up there. It rained and I mean, when I say rain, I mean it sprinkled for like 5 minutes. And then we had blue skies the entire day. So out of the entire trip, I got rained on for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes out of an entire 2-week ride. It was beautiful. Mike and Greg, no, they were in rain where it was making
they caught a little bit. Yeah, they caught a little bit more coming back up. Now your return trip, you deviated. You had some other plans and goals that you wanted to do.
Exactly. So the ride south, that Panama Gold Express was Greg's goal to do, and I enjoyed it. I mean, we had a great time. We did a border to border in Mexico. That was a great ride. We did the Panama Express Gold ride. That was a great ride, but they were in a hurry to get home, and I was not. So I wanted to enjoy more of Central America because I didn't know when or if I'd ever get back there again. So my goal on the ride back was I wanted to ride through the countries we missed on the way south. On the way south, we missed El Salvador and we missed Belize. On the way back, we were routing ourselves through El Salvador, but Mike and Greg were not looking to go through Belize. And it's kind of out of the way. There's only 2 land border crossings into Belize. One is from Mexico, the northern end, and then the other one is about halfway up between Guatemala and Belize. And that's the only 2 entries that you can drive into that country. So to get there from the road that they were going to be on was about an hour ride out of the way. And I was like, it's an hour. I want to go do it. And they were like hemming and hawing about it. And then at the last minute, they made a decision. They're like, no, we need to get home. And they were motivated to just go home. And I had a different motivation. I wanted to hit every one of them. So I deviated and left them somewhere in, I want to say in Honduras. We separated and they went home from there. And I went into Guatemala and I got a hotel in Guatemala on the side of a lake and this was great. I pull up there. I've got you'd think you were at a resort. I mean, it was a resort. And I've got a room overlooking this beautiful lake with a volcano in the background. I come in there and I'm like, well, what's it going to cost me? And the woman goes, $80. And I'm like, $80? That's a lot for down here. Oh no, it included dinner the night before. It included an open bar and it included breakfast in the morning. And I'm like, sold. And so I stayed at that hotel. Sold. I mean, why even discuss it? And so I stayed there. I got up the next day and I rode from Guatemala into Belize and rode through Belize. And my only thing was I had planned right by the border crossing in Belize was a Mayan ruin that I wanted to go see, but I couldn't get there because even though I was only about a half a mile away from it, I had to cross this little river that had a hand crank where you actually had to use your hands to pedal the ferry across the river, and it was closed that day. And so I didn't get to do this thing and go see these Mayan ruins. So that was kind of disappointing, but can always go back. Rode through Belize and did that in one day, got up right over in the border into Mexico. And I got a room at the Holiday Inn in right over the border in Mexico. And again, dirt cheap place, and it was beautiful. And off I went home for the rest of the way up to Mexico, and then stopped somewhere about halfway up in Mexico. I got another place that was also on the water that also included dinner and breakfast. And I'm like, man, these are, how do you argue with that? So
man, so you found a nice little resort down there.
Pure luck,
huh?
Pure luck. Well, pure luck. And I also have on my rides, one of the benefits of having a good friend who lives on the other side of the world from you is that when your friends at home are sleeping, he's wide awake. And so Chris follows along on my rides as I do his rides. And we always have someone to talk to in the middle of the night. So when it's middle of the night for my friends here, oh yeah, that was the place with dinner included with the drinks. I'm sitting there at this, it's a resort. I mean, are you kidding me? $80. How do you complain? But Chris found that. He was looking, he goes, okay, here's the route you're going on. And how far do you want to get? And I'm like, well, here. And he goes, okay. And so he looked at him. He goes, hey, I found this little place here. Looks pretty nice. Man, it sure was. It sure was. Yeah. That was the view out of my world.
Listen, I would have been out there in that hammock, man, just swinging with my feet up with a cold one, drinking flower drinks, man.
$80, dinner, breakfast, and drinks included.
Dinner, breakfast, and drink included.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm telling you, when you go down, you need to just get out and explore. Don't be afraid. Go out and enjoy yourself, man. You will be amazed. So we get down there, everything is good. We wake up and we're heading back. Now we're heading back. You are the first person to complete this ride. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am the so far the first and only person to document and have it validated by the IBA, a complete ride through all of the Central American countries at the gold level, which is in less than 100 hours, and the standard level is under 120 hours. So it when you first look at it on the surface, you think it's probably not that challenging of a ride to do this, and that anybody could do this. But again, the problem is that you're from Panama to Mexico, you're entering all 7 Central American countries and Mexico. So you're doing 8 countries with 7 different borders that you have to cross. And again, the logistics and stuff of the borders, they eat up time. And it could take you, I think the fastest border crossing was an hour. And you say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, no, that's a minimum of 8 hours. But I will tell you that the longest one was over 3 hours. And police stops along the way where they want to check your paperwork in the middle of nowhere. And so it's kind of challenging. And the highest speed in all of Central America is 68 miles an hour, 110 kilometers an hour. That's the fastest place. And that is not many of them. Most of it, it's like you're doing 60 miles an hour or less, staying within the limits.
Okay. That's why I open with Bad Boys. Because I know I know who you were riding with, so I know you was just straight up bad boys.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but we made good time. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
I love it. Oh man, I wish I could catch one of those trips down with you guys. It's incredible. It definitely is. And I would encourage anybody to look into it, do your homework. I know Greg was telling me that Cynthia Franklin, aka Snacks, had reached out to her, had gotten some information about making that trip down that worked out great for her. So it is doable. You are there to help people. Greg is there to help. People want people to take those rides down there because, you already know what it's like.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
It's achievable. You can achieve that ride.
Yeah, no, it really is. And Greg's level of planning is significantly higher than my level of planning. And his, I don't like to personally plan to that level of detail, although it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. When we're riding, he knew where every gas station was. He knew every single place that he wanted to stop and do anything. And so I kind of want to just play it by ear a lot of times. I will do the paperwork. I'll get my stuff in order to make sure that I can accomplish my goal. But then I kind of like to leave a little bit of it up to chance, a little mystery to it. That's for me, that's part of the adventure. It's just a different way of doing it.
It's part of the adventure.
Yeah.
And that's I do. I fly by the seat of my pants sometimes. I'm just saying, I'm gonna go right, I'm gonna go left. This look good, this don't look good, or I'll maybe do a little homework to maybe look a few hundred miles up ahead, maybe look at the weather, and then I say, okay, I know if I push it, as long as I stay in front of it or keep it behind me, I'm good. So yeah, sometimes I fly by the seat of my pants.
Right. No, I mean, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna get lost. I mean, you got a GPS. You can always get back to where you want to get to. So it's like, and that's kind of what I enjoy. Is just get out. And again, I like to slow down. I like to see the people. I want to talk to people. I want to engage with people. I want to see the sights. And so again, I don't think either way is wrong. Right. They're just different.
They're just different. Now, I have to ask you. Now you have ridden all the way up to top of the world, Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, Dead Horse, and you've been all the way south. Does that qualify you for the IBA Ultimate? Or what is that ride called? I think Snacks just did it. This Cynthia Snacks. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
honestly. I'm not sure. I have not nearly as many ride certs as a lot of people. I'm
Right.
platinum level, which I'm thrilled being platinum. I'm knocking on the door of titanium, but I'm not there yet. And there are some people that are. There's not enough years left in my life to get to the level that there are some people at.
I know. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, I know my limits, and that's okay. But one of the things I've been racking up is I'm racking up flags. And
Tell
that's
us
my
about
new goal. I now have on if you go into the database, the IBA database, and pull up your name and search for your rides, it give you a list of all your rides that you have.
Right.
They also put a flag for the country that you completed a ride in. And most of us all have like US flags, some will have Canadian flags, but I now currently have 11 different flags having completed rides, US, Canada, Mexico, all of Central America, and I have a gold ride in New Zealand. So so I'm kind of thrilled with that. So that's my goal now is I might not have as many certs as other people. I may not have as many miles as other people, but I'm racking up flags. That's my new goal in life.
Man, I'm telling you, it is impressive. When I pulled it up, I'm like, wow, what are all these flags? But I know though. I know. And I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's completing a ride in a country. You get a flag for those countries. And it's a different approach. Some people want to go for the most miles they can ride. I look at Hopper doing 100,000 in 100 days. I can't even conceive of something like that.
I've ridden 100,000 miles, but I can't see myself doing 100,000 miles in. I just can't do it. I'm sorry.
It's just the man who's done it in a year twice now, though. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I have. But sometimes I sit there and say, I know my limits. I know my limits. So once you can sit there and say, you know your limits, my friend. There it is, right there. There it is. That is impressive.
So we got
run us down the gauntlet. Yeah, run us down the gauntlet right quick of those.
What is what now?
Run the gauntlet. Who we got? Canada, we got Mexico.
So obviously you got the USA, you got Mexico, or you got Canada, Mexico, New Zealand. Then it goes down through, and now you're going to put me on the spot to know all the Central American flags. You've got like Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Salvador, and Belize.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
I wasn't prepared.
I love it. I got to put you on the spot a little bit.
Well, now I see there. I should pull it up there now. I want to bring up here. There's a Grand Slam award that it's listed there.
Yes, and Grand Slam they just added that.
There's not many people that have that.
No, we were one of the first ones to get it.
Yeah. There's 2 out of the 3 people that have it are right here on the program right now.
That's right.
That's it.
Man, sometimes I'm like, wow, it's like, did I do all that? How did I do all that?
I know.
That's incredible. Crazy. That's incredible. Yeah. So we are the 3 that have the first Grand Slam from the Iron Butt Association.
Yeah. 2 Navy guys and an Army guy.
Oh my goodness! Here we go. We're service bashing again.
Yeah, we are.
I love it. But I have truly enjoyed having you on the show tonight. Is there anything else that you wanted to discuss? Are you writing for any charity organizations or anything like that this year?
No, not this year. Not this year. I support all the guys that are doing it. But no, I hard to believe, and most people would think I was lying to them, but I actually still have a full-time job currently, and so it's hard to believe, but I am very fortunate, and by full-time job I say that they're paying me for a full-time job, but I'm working about a half an hour a week, and
don't say that. Don't say that.
But yeah, so I still have to be available when they want me, and which fortunately is not that often. But I can't commit to putting in those long miles for consistently to raise money for a charity. So it's little things here and there, and I try to support the others that are doing it though.
Okay. Are you doing Tour of Honor? Are you doing Mile Monster? Any of those?
I do. I have done the Tour of Honor. I've been doing those for years now. The Ride to Eat, the Ultimate Long Distance Rider. This year, I've taken it kind of easy. I haven't done much of anything this year. I've been kind of a slacker. I focused mostly on this ride, the Iron Butt Rally coming up.
Getting ready for the rally, Iron Butt Rally.
And then I think my other goal is, if things work out, I'm hoping to ship my motorcycle to South America, maybe this January, and do the ride south to the tip of South America, and at a little slower pace. I know Greg is talking about doing that too. He's looking at doing it over a period of about 3 weeks. I'm leaning towards doing it over a period of 3 months. Again, I'm looking at just taking my time, and if I get to a place I'm like, I kind of like this, I'm going to stay for a day or two. It's just that's how I'm going after it this time. It'll be significantly slower and for me more enjoyable.
Okay. Of course, I do a pre-production and I pull up everything and my slides and everything, but I have to ask you, who is this gentleman right here?
That's my friend Bill. That's Bill Wagstaff. That's his Norton Commando. That's actually the day I picked it up, and sadly that was about 3 weeks before he passed away. It was crazy.
I remember you mentioned the Norton. That's why I'm like, I wanted to pull this up and kind of give Bill
and I met. I was 11 years old, and we started out riding mini bikes together. Little 4 horsepower gas, pull start engines in them, up in the woods of Pennsylvania together. And and actually I owe that man a lot. As I said, my longest term friend in my life. I was his best man at his wedding, and that's where I met my wife. She was the maid of honor at that wedding, and I met her there at that. And coming up on 47 years married to her. So it's a long haul. Yeah.
Congratulations, because we're only good as our support, and our significant others and our spouse definitely support us, because we couldn't do this by ourselves.
No.
Being a professional long distance rider, you are not out there by yourself. Your friends, your family, your significant other, your wife, husband are right there with you. They're checking on you. They're making sure that you need anything up ahead, or if anything go wrong, to help you get out of it. So it is a team effort. And
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And like I said, and he was like my oldest and dearest friend. We were friends 50 years before he passed away. And so I that motorcycle is in my garage that will never be sold. And I told my son, if he ever sells that bike, I will come back and haunt him. Come back and just
knock on his door every night. Rattling pots and pans in the kitchen. Nobody's getting any sleep.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, Bill, man, I have enjoyed having you on the show tonight. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your adventures, your journeys, inspiring others. Your legacy will live on, because you are in the books as a first. And I tell everybody, there's that many firsts left out there, but there are still some out there that you can achieve. Just set your mind to it and go make it happen, man.
Yeah, pitter patter, get at it. Get at it. But I'm honored. I'm honored to have been on the show with you, Solo. I'll tell you, not to get all mushy, but I think the world of you. So
thank you very much,
and it means the world to me to be here with you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon in person.
Oh yeah, you will. All right, so you take care, my friend. I'll see you soon. All right. Oh, folks, I just love it. This just breaks me down and makes me feel good. It lets me know that I am doing something right out here in this long distance motorcycle riding community, inspiring others. That has always been my motto: aspire to inspire, be legendary. So, folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And what I really would love to start seeing is more people comment. Ask questions, get engaged. I want this to become more engaging. I want you to get engaged in conversation with my guests, because I bring them on specifically to share their journeys and adventures, but at the same time, be that encyclopedia, be that Wikipedia, be that wealth of knowledge that you can sit there and say, well, I heard them say this, or I seen him go ride this ride, and I want to go take that ride myself. But look, I've enjoyed you tonight. Take care. Be safe out there. And remember, aspire to inspire, be legendary. God bless you.